Hello, I'm going to do another advanced steel video today on editing prototypes. I've previously done one and I don't know where it's gone. I guess YouTube didn't like it and deleted it for me. So I'm going to do another one here. So first of all, we want to open our prototype. So just go to open and go to this PC, C drive, program data, Autodesk. Advanced Steel 2020 is the version I'm using. USA is the folder you want to go in for me in the USA. Now, every so often I will back up this folder by just copying it, pasting it here, giving it a new name or giving it a date and then zipping it, and then I'll save it to my Dropbox. It's good practice to do that. Then you can replace this folder if you need to at any point. So go in here in USA. We want to go to steel. Oh, hold on. Sorry, shared is where we want to go. We want to go shared, support, prototypes. Now, I'm going to open this prototype, which is my own prototype, which is fairly basic. And that's it. Now, there's a couple of different ways to do this. You can explode this block, and then you will need to recreate this block after you edit everything, and you need to give it the correct name, and the name is let's see, the name should pop up when I do this. The name is Hyper Steel Page Header. So what I do is I'll click on it and I'll right click and block editor, and I'll just do it in the block editor here. So you can change any of these things. You can just go to properties and change that color to cyan. Now, as I'm doing this, I just remembered that I forgot the cardinal rule, which is to save it straight away. So go back here and go save as, and I'm going to name it AirCAD after the YouTube channel. So AirCAD, save. Alright, so now if I mess it up, I'm only messing up the new one, and the old one is fine. So go back in here, left click, right click, block editor. So I want to go in here. Let's say I don't want these are intelligent attributes, but I don't use them, but I leave them in there in case I do need to use them. So these are all, this one isometric is actually just a name that I can use to change the title of the drawing. So I usually change the title of the drawing manually. Is the easiest way for me to do it. So what I'll do is I'll just change the color of that one to like green. So we'll know these other ones here are intelligent attributes. For the user project attribute 2 and user project attribute 3, I will fill in architect and engineer in my project, and they'll populate here accordingly. So let's say you want to put in your client's name. Just select these two, copy the selection from here over to the center of the line, and let's put a line here to, so these are just lines. You're just basically drawing out what you want. So I want to change that to client. So double click and I click here and put in client. Over here, this is, if I double click on this, you'll see this box opens up because this is an attribute. So in order to change this, I go to the tokens. Now all you have to do is Google Advanced Steel Tokens and you'll get this page. So I'm going to do client, so copy that and then go back and put your tag as client, and then just a prompt, just so we know what's in there in case the tag is totally different. Client name, that's not that important really. The tag is the important part. So you can see that tag has changed, so that's good. So building location, detailer, all these things are fine. Let's just say we just want to put in a line here up to here, and we can trim those lines back. This is just purely just to show you. if you want to put something in here like a stamp, or if you wanted to leave a space for engineer stamp, something like that. Alright, so now the other thing is, if I delete this revision index, which is an intelligent object, I'm going to save. There's obviously the name of the header of the block. So save that. You can see that that's still there. It hasn't deleted for some reason. Now the important thing, which was something that I didn't know, which not many people explained, but I found out eventually after a long time looking for it, that my title block needs to be synced. So if you do ATTS is at sync, and then select your block and do yes, it syncs your attributes. So you see that disappeared because I had already previously deleted it. But the changes don't come into effect until you do the at sync, attribute sync. So, alright, so let me go back in here. I need to change the icon, right? So let's delete my icon. And let's change the name here to AirCAD. AirCAD. Alright, now, so let's close that out. So justification is left. Let's put the justification in the center. And then let's move that across to the center roughly. And now it's a little cramped. We had, bigger, more letters in there, so I can make that a little wider. So if I click back on that and come back over here, I can make that like 1, or yeah, 1 is probably wide. You don't want to go too crazy. Alright, so now we need to put an image in here. Now there's a couple of different ways to do this. You can do image attach, which will allow you to pick an image. So I'll do this just to show you. So if I go into this PC downloads, if I do this icon here, right, so it gives you all these things where you want to put it in, whatever aspect, okay. So see, it's pretty big, right? So that's fine. So it lets you choose what size you want it here. So we make it that size. So now if I pick on this image, it's good, I can move it around. See, it locks the aspect ratio, right? Now if I go over here, I can't unlock the aspect ratio. It doesn't give me that option. So it's locked like this. Now the other issue with this is this file is referenced. This image is referenced to a file on your computer. So if you send this DWG to somebody, it's going to come up with an error for the icon. So what I like to do is not do it that way. What I like to do is, if I go into downloads and I let's open this image. Open with Paint. So you're basically going to copy and paste it in. So this is Paint. So I'm going to maximize that. I'm going to select this, what I want. This is the size I want. That's good. So I'm going to crop that. And I'm going to save as. Just so I'll have it. I don't need to save it. I'm going to save it over that one, which is fine, which is the same thing basically. Transparency, don't worry about that. Okay, violation. So just basically select all, right click, copy. So now I've copied that into my clipboard. Now go back to my block. Make sure you zoom out far enough. Control V. If it's a very large image, zoom right back out, because you'll have issues with the image otherwise. Just have it paste right in the middle here. That's good. Now if I pick this, you can see here there's a lock aspect. So now I can lock the aspect ratio of this, or I can unlock it. And now the good thing about this is, if you try and do this in another program, it gets pixelated. But if you do it here, you can see it's still legible, even though you get like a little crazy with it. So it's pretty flexible, in fairness. I don't know how it works that way. Somebody smarter than me will be able to tell you. So I just make it smaller usually, and then I'll make it also a little smaller here, and then I'm going to move it. Now the reason I do this is because if you make it the full size of the box, a lot of times the white in the image will override the black on the box, and the sheet's already going to be white, so it creates a frame around this. You'll see in a minute. So basically changes are made there. Close the block editor, save it. I'm going to add sync again, just in case there was any issues with anything I did that didn't update, and select, pick the title block, and yes, now that's updated. So that's good. So another thing you want to do is you want to come down here and go to your tab down here, right click and do page setup manager and go to modify. So this is your setup of your page. So at the minute everything is fine. But when I started Advanced Steel, this was set to either extents or display. I believe it was display. So if I had any details on here that I wanted to drag off temporarily and maybe use later, it would print everything, and the page would be all messed up, and this border would be like across the middle of the page, and it just was a real pain. So you need to set the layout, and then it'll just print the layout sheet, which is the black sheet. So if you can see, I have some writing down here. That's not going to print. I can just drag that into my title block whenever I need it. So also what you might want to do is you might want to create an individual plot style for this. So open your plot styles and straight away do save as, and then I'm going to name this GAs because it's going to be used for the GAs. GAs for the general arrangements. So as you can see, this is how your colors are controlled. So anything you print, whatever layer something you print is on, the layer color is what it'll be printed on your sheet. So anything that I have as this blue on a layer is going to print in black. Anything I have as the color 1, which is red, will use its object color, which is red, and I can change that to whatever color I want. I can change the line type. Now I suggest you keep the colors the same. Don't start like changing the red to change to a green color, because it'll get a little bit confusing. So what we can do is, just for the sake of argument, I will change this red to green, and we'll see what it does in a couple of minutes. And I'll also make this from 0.15 up to 0.5 and save and close. And now I want to change it here, and I'll change this to GAs, and that'll come into effect that every time you plot from this GA, it's going to use this plot style. So we'll test it out in a minute just to see how it works. So we can close that, and we can close this, and it'll save. Now it's probably best practice to save and then close. I also have this over here, which is, it'll save and close with one click, which is what I usually use. So now let's see about putting this onto that drawing. So now first of all, I was telling you my project attributes. So if you come in here and go up here to this button, this is your project settings. So I have all this filled in with some info, and what I'm going to do is user attributes. So if you see here user attributes 2, so TDM we'll put here, and I'll just put in Advanced Steel here. Now if you remember I put these in my title block. 2 is for the architect and 3 is for the engineer. So let's see how that works out. Now before you do anything, you need to go to labels and dimensions, management, and update page header. And that'll update all the old ones as well as the new ones. So now I want to pick this. I want to put this on the drone. So let's just do a 3D view of this. And we'll select this one. And we're going to modify the settings. We're going to pick the scale, which I think 3/4 is probably going to be good. The prototype is the AirCAD prototype. Okay. And let's select this. So now this will output a 3D drawing of this. So if we go back here and we'll do output, open the document manager, up-to-date drawings, apologies. Oh, I never renamed it. I meant to rename it. So this is it here, number 5. Alright, so that looks pretty good. It's coming pretty good on the page. As you can see, I let it print out my lines, but you can just delete those construction lines. And if you go over here now, you'll see Advanced Steel TDM, Architect Engineer. So let's fill that in. The lines here, the icon or the image looks pretty good. So what I'll do now is, if you remember in the plot style, I put in the red 1 to come in as a green. So let's change this properties on this to red 1. So that's going to be red 1, and now we'll plot this. And this should automatically plot to that plot style we just created, which will make that, yeah, see, if you can see, you can change it here, but it automatically plots to it. And we'll just save it anywhere. And that red line should come up green and thick. Yeah, so you can see it's 0.5 of a millimeter. It's pretty thick. It's hard to see unless you zoom in on it, but you can see it's a pretty thick line. So obviously that's not the way we wanted to print. That was just to give you an idea. So what we do is, actually, let me plot that again. I'll just show you. What I'll do is I'll change that green back. So let me edit that. I can change that green. I'll change that back to use object color, so it'll just come in as red. I like to use the red if I want to mark something a little extra. So OK, and save, and yes, overwrite. Sorry, excuse me. So you'll see it come in as red. Now I meant to change back the thickness. I'll do that in a minute. So you can see everything else is black, right? So let's fit page. So everything else is in black, and that's the way we like it. But let's say you want to give somebody a more colorful model. Maybe you want to highlight the handrail. What we can do is we can close this, and if we do plot again, so we'll do plot, and oh no, hold on. What we'll do is we need to find out. Let's say we'll go back to the handrail. So let's say I don't know what the handrail is. Let's go back to the main model. This is obviously on the railing. It's on the railing layer. So open this up, click on the swatch, and it'll tell you here it's color 22. So okay. So go back to your drawing and do plot. And then in your GAs, you can create another one. You can just save and create another one and call it colorful GAs, whatever you want. For one, I'm going to change this line size back to what it was originally, which was 0.15. Now I'm going to go to 22, which is my railing, and I'm going to say I want that in blue. Now, my advice, like I said earlier, is probably just to make it object color. So we can do object color, save and close. That'll save this, so it'll stay this way unless you change it again. So save and close and OK, and then we'll overwrite this again. Yes, and we've overwritten it, and you can see now it's come in as this color. So what you can do then is you can do that with all these elements if you want a bit of color in it. Or say you only wanted to do it once, then just go plot again. Just go in here, go back to the color, I mean, it's probably good practice also to keep a note of what ones you change. And then we'll just change this back to black. Now you can change the line weight of these. Maybe your bolts, which are a different type of green, you want to make a lighter line weight. Maybe maybe they don't look great on a drawing, or maybe you want to put them in as a grey color. So what we could do is, I'm making the video a little bit longer here, but I do feel like this is important. So what I'll do is I'll cancel out of that. We'll go back here and we'll click on our bolts and we'll see it highlighted up here. Then we'll go down and we'll go to the swatch and we'll see what color it is. It's color 74. Okay, so that's color 74. So go back here and then go plot, and on your GAs, let's say we'll go to color 74. So let's pick color 74, which is green for the bolts. You can see it's printing in black here. Maybe I don't want black. Maybe I want it to be a little bit lighter. Maybe I want to go like a gray color. So maybe I'll do that gray color. Okay. And then the line weight's okay. It's pretty small. Save and close. And then okay. And then save it over the other one because I don't want a million different files. So now you can see your bolts are lighter. So this can be beneficial, you know. Other people have done little videos showing these, but I mean, you need a little more in depth. Probably I might do a separate video just on this, but you can see there now the bolts are a little bit lighter. They may be too light, but you know, it makes it interesting. So anyway, look, I'll leave it at that for now. If there's any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. I'm not sure if I'll be able to answer them, but if I can, I will. For now, I think that's your prototype. I think it's important to set up your plot style inside your prototype and your image, everything. You know, you can make this whatever way you want. So I hope that was helpful. And if you have any requests for a video, please let me know. And maybe if you could subscribe, then I would know at least people are interested in the videos, or give me some feedback at least. Alright, take care, have a good day. It's Thanksgiving here, so happy Thanksgiving everybody. Bye bye.